What do you know about the dairy industry?
Well, it really sucks that cows are being impregnated to take the milk and babies away.
Yeah. Yeah, good. That means your heart is working and your brain, like you realize this isn't the right thing to do. We wouldn't want it done to us. They didn't do anything to us. They're just innocent victims, gentle animals, you know. Cows are like gentle giants, you know, they're like big dogs, and I just can't imagine wanting to hurt them. So, I don't know if you've seen this video, but for everybody in the audience, since we're talking about milk, you can check out this video I'm posting from YouTube into stage one text. So, on the left side of your screen, go to stage one text. It's just a few channels above where we're at right now. So, stage one text, here's a 5-minute video that has 6 million views. Dairy is scary. So I recommend everybody watch this video with 6 million views so that you know how animals are treated to make milk and ice cream and cheese and butter that has milk in it, and why, you know, instead we just do vegan butter, vegan ice cream, vegan milk. It's delicious. Ben and Jerry's has a lot of vegan ice cream. Ben and Jerry's has like probably 5 to 10 different vegan ice creams in the grocery store, and it's super good. You wouldn't be able to tell that it was vegan if you ate it. You would not be able to tell. And they're made with either like uh, soy milk, almond milk, oat milk, coconut milk, rice milk, hemp milk. What are the other ones? Cashew milk. So super good, and no need to drink the breast milk of a mother who was sent to a slaughterhouse. So watch Dairy is Scary, and if anybody watches that and then wants to come up on stage and talk about what they saw in that video, that would be cool too.
I've been vegan for like 9 months, but I don't eat eggs. But like I never really looked at why,
Okay.
because like I've seen like on the packages it says like free range and that like
You're kind of breaking up, I think, or maybe it's my connection, but you're asking about eggs, and so I'm going to post some 2 videos about eggs. Most eggs come from factory farms. So the next video I'll post is where like uh, 1% of eggs come from, if that, and that's like what's called backyard eggs, which is like, you know, like your aunt has a couple of chickens in her backyard kind of thing, and she's not slaughtering them or whatever. She's being really nice to the birds, and she's only got a couple of them or whatever, right? So is that bad? That's the question of this next video. But the first video is really important because that's where most of the eggs come from. So watch that first one of what's wrong with eggs, and then you can check
yeah.
out why vegans don't eat backyard eggs, because there's suffering involved in both. One is worse, of course, you know, like it's worse to torture an animal and then kill them, but there's also problems with backyard eggs. So check that out.
Animals like in the wild, like they uh some of them like kill other animals and eat them for food.
Yeah.
So I was just wondering why um like uh vegans don't believe in us doing that.
Okay, sure. So that would be called a naturalist fallacy or an appeal to nature fallacy. A fallacy is just a bad argument, basically. A fallacy just means there was some flaw, some problem with your logic. So uh, an appeal to nature fallacy is where we say, look, this whatever happens in nature, therefore it's good. Or I can do it also because it happens in nature. But the thing is like illness and disease is natural, and yet we come up with human-made, like non-natural medicine to prevent that illness, right? So just because something's natural doesn't mean it's good. And lions will kill gazelles because they're carnivores. Lions have to eat animals in order to survive, and they don't know any better. But we, on the other hand, are civilized human beings who can make compassionate choices. We don't have a biological need to eat animals. We don't need to eat meat for nutrients. So it's different. And we are moral agents. We're able to think, because we're smarter than lions, we're able to think about rationality and morality and the well being of others and that kind of thing. Now, there's still a lot of people who don't care about morality, though, for different reasons, and they'll hurt each other or they'll hurt animals. Um, but a lion would kill a human child if given the opportunity. Are we therefore justified in killing children simply because a lion would? No, we're held to a higher moral standard. It's still
Um,
sad. To clarify, it's still sad for the gazelle that they get eaten and killed by the lion. I feel bad for them. I'm just not blaming the lion because they don't know what they're doing and they have to. But you and I, we can choose not to harm the gazelle. But if there was a way to like, if I, it's tricky though because it's still harmful to the gazelle, and ideally we'd be able to all live in peace, right? And that's what I would like to see is a world
yeah.
where lions don't kill gazelles. That's not going to happen. That's not the way the world works, and we just have to deal with that, and it sucks. But we can maybe like come up with ways of separating them. Like this would be like 100 years from now when we have more vegans, more support and stuff. But like
Mm.
give the lions vegan food like lab grown meat or vegan meat that's nutritionally adequate, and then they won't want to kill the gazelles, and then maybe so the gazelles don't overpopulate because the lions aren't eating them. Then we want to make sure we give birth control to the some of the gazelles so they don't overpopulate and eat up all the plants and starve to death because there's no food left for them to eat. It's a really complex thing, but I hope that answered your
Yeah.
question. The idea is we're
Yeah.
aiming at slaughterhouses right now, because people can easily make this change, and we have no right to do this to the animals.
Yeah. And so just one more question. I've heard a lot of vegans saying like it's bad to keep dogs as pets, but like, what's your opinion on keeping like guinea pigs?
Okay, so the thing about whether we're talking about guinea pigs or dogs, uh, or cows or pigs or chickens, we need to stop breeding animals into existence because there's already animals who exist in this world who need to be rescued and who need to find a
Yeah.
forever home. So, in
Like
go ahead.
ones from like a rescue
Yeah,
in particular.
yeah. So adopt is great. Yeah, we should all be if we're able to take care of an animal or a human, we should be. I say the same thing with humans. Like we for the environment. Also, we should stop having children for a while and adopt kids because whether we're talking
Yeah.
about kids or dogs or other animals. There are individuals who are in shelters or foster care who need a forever home, and so we should give them a home and treat them well. And yeah, we restrict their freedoms to some degree. Like we put a dog in a yard so that they can't run out into the street and get run over by a car because they don't know any better. They don't, just like a child, a toddler. We restrict the toddler's freedom to some degree just for their own benefit so that they don't get hurt. Don't let them walk into the street. Same kind of thing. So it's not like enslaving a dog to have a dog living with you, but because it's just like being a caretaker for them, being
Yeah.
their friend or their dad or whatever. But we just don't want to be breeding animals. That's the thing.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Thanks.
All right, cool. It was nice talking to you. Talk to us again.
I've been in this call for about 30 minutes and I've got down some questions that I want to ask you.
Cool.
How we were brought into existence, do you think we were brought into existence to be vegan or to eat animals?
Well, I mean, like I said, I'm an atheist, so I don't think we were brought into existence for any purpose really in any kind of religious sense. But evolutionarily speaking, uh, the purpose of living organisms, and especially the animal kingdom of which we are a part, we are animals, is to uh, adapt to your environment and to uh, replicate, I guess, is to breed. So I'm saying we should go against that natural instinct or that natural proclivity of breeding, at least to some degree. I'm not saying we need to like go extinct or anything, but we also have the desire, natural desire, to not experience pain and to experience more pleasure. Like that's just something ingrained in us and in animals, is to seek pleasure and avoid pain, and to uh, find companionship. So a lot of animals, including humans, most of us at least, are social animals. So we like being in groups. It's mutually beneficial for us to work in groups and help others because then they'll be willing to help us, stuff like that. But as far as like um, so basically like being vegan or not evolutionarily is not really connected. Veganism is an ethical philosophy.
Yeah, it's starting to come together.
Okay, we
Uh,
yeah. I
what are
basically
you?
think I just to finish that up. I basically think like in large part we come up with our own purpose for life, and we can have either good reasons for coming to a what seems to me at least to be a good goal, like being an activist and promoting peace and helping change the law so that humans and animals are protected instead of abused, stuff like that. That's going to make the world a better place. So that's what I'm trying to do, as opposed to like being super selfish and wanting to just destroy everything you see and wanting humans and animals to suffer just because you get pleasure out of it or whatever. Like that's not really a good goal. And so I think we should look at the world around us, use science to realize that humans and animals feel pain and pleasure and they want to live, and therefore they should have rights to not be subjected to needless cruelty or death. And based on that, yes, we use science and philosophy together to kind of come up with a moral system and influence others to agree with us. And hopefully, we want to be open minded to make sure that we're actually right. And so, we want to be open to criticism and hearing what other people have to say and changing our mind if it turns out that we were missing a piece of the puzzle. So, we rely on others for education also.
Uh, what are your thoughts on the vegan teacher?
So there's lots of different activists in lots of different movements that will use different tactics. I'm not super familiar with her work, but you know, activists will often do a lot of good. They might mess up sometimes. I certainly have messed up in many, many ways, many times. And the goal is to try to learn from our mistakes and improve and hold ourselves and each other to a very high standard, but there is something to be said about controversial activism because, like, what we're doing right here is just polite educational outreach, and it's really effective. But it's not going to get media attention. Our conversation is really in depth and pleasant, and can be really impacting for you and the audience. But it's not going to get any news articles written about it because it's not controversial. So if instead, like look at my profile picture, you can see me covered in fake blood with a megaphone in my hand. If instead, when I go inside of a grocery store or a restaurant and protest inside there really loud, or if I were to go into a slaughterhouse and chain myself up to the kill floor and shut down the slaughterhouse for a few hours and get arrested, that would get media coverage. That would get articles written about me. It would be on the news. Or if I were to disrupt a politician who supports slaughterhouses, or if I ran onto a baseball field in the middle of the game with a big banner that said animal rights, or something like this, then that stuff gets media coverage, which reaches millions of people. Maybe not as in depth as our conversation is now, because those are sometimes just like a 10-second glimpse of a video on the news, or a 30-second article or something, but that reaches millions of people. And gets them talking about the issue and thinking about it and wanting to learn more, and drives them to places like this, where then they have a full conversation to get their questions answered, and then they realize how serious this is, and they watch a slaughterhouse video that we show them, and then it all makes sense.
Are vegans confined to like a specific clothing or clothing brand?
Not a brand, but yeah, clothing. Yeah, so vegans, it's not just about the food, it's also about leather and fur and wool and silk and alpaca, like anything that has animals in it, or zoos or circuses that use animals, okay, or animal experimentation for cosmetic, like makeup and stuff. Uh, but yeah, so yeah, animals are tortured and killed for leather and fur and wool, and so we don't support that. So we just use synthetic materials instead. Yeah, so I think the point you were trying to make is that we have hardly any numbers. We are really outnumbered, and that sucks. But we're gonna win anyways, and that's what's cool. So if you look back 100 years ago, like the women's right to vote movement. For thousands of years, women didn't have any rights and were abused and couldn't vote, and they were outnumbered in society in the sense that like men. Not only like 50% is pop of the population is male and 50% is female or whatever, so like they weren't outnumbered in that sense, but it wasn't just men who were fighting against them. There were even women who were fighting against women getting the right to vote, because a lot of women had internalized sexism where they had been tricked by their society into thinking that they don't deserve rights. Because we're a social species. We just do what everybody else is doing. We follow the crowd and we don't question anything. Some of us do, but it's really uncomfortable, and you lose friends and stuff like that. But it's still the right thing to do because the victims need our help, right? And but also the men were dominating that culture, for the whole culture run by men. Okay, women had no power. So even though it was 50% men, 50% women in the population, men had all the power. They had a monopoly on power and control. So the women were up against this massive obstacle. And like I said, a bunch of women didn't even want to. They are against feminism. So they were telling the women activists like, "Oh, stop! You're making a scene," and stuff like this. But nevertheless, these activists won, right? And just like with the civil rights movement, black people were the minority, and they were up against a very racist society, but they fought and they won. And things change, and there's still room for improvement for women's rights and for black rights, but a lot of progress has been made. So the point is that all we have to do, because we feel we have truth and justice on our side, and we realize that most people are good people, even though they're doing something abhorrent right now. They wouldn't want to kill the animal themselves. They don't want to watch the slaughterhouse videos. So that shows that they're against this. They've just been conditioned, like I was. I ate animals for 26 years. I was conditioned to think that it's okay, or that it's natural and normal and necessary to eat animals, and everybody else is doing it. So there was peer pressure to keep doing it, and no peer pressure, or social motivation to stop eating animals, because there's hardly any vegans. So I wish somebody had taught me about all this stuff sooner. Um, but yeah, so there's a lot of different forms of activism. We've got millions of vegans across the world fighting for animal rights in a lot of different ways, and we're taking over. And it's going to be like 10, 20, 30 years. We're going to start seeing certain cities, like small progressive cities, banning meat and dairy and eggs and outlawing slaughterhouses, shutting them down. And then other cities will join that. And then a whole state will do that, and then other states will do that, and then it'll become a federal law, just like what happened with the gay rights movement. And then other countries will join.
Okay. This one's about like dietary. Like, how do vegans get like a balanced diet, and how do you guys get your protein?
Okay, good question. So, um, protein is found in plants. So that's where the cows you're eating get their protein, is from plants, because that's what they eat. And so yeah, like look, we eat rice, pasta, fruits, vegetables, seeds, nuts, beans, bread, vegan burgers, vegan pizza, vegan chicken, vegan sausage, vegan cheese, vegan ice cream, all that stuff, right? Uh, and so yeah, like beans versus beef, you're gonna have like the same amount of protein. Tofu versus beef would be about the same. Like chickpeas. Here, I'll post a picture in stage one text of some vegan sources of protein, and then some vegan bodybuilders. Potatoes, brown rice, spinach, quinoa, green peas, lima beans, macadamia nuts, kidney beans, garbanzo beans, lentils, pinto beans, wheat bread, soybeans, tofu, oats, walnuts, cashew nuts, chia seeds, flax seeds, tempeh, pistachios, almonds, peanut butter, pumpkin seeds, hemp seeds, edamame pasta, and seitan. So there's a lot of stuff here you probably ain't even heard of. So it's all about the seasoning, and the sauce. So there you go. And then here's some vegan bodybuilders, and I'll post the movie called The Game Changers, which is about vegan athletes. It's on Netflix.
Do vegans force their pets to be vegan?
They should. So technically, it's forcing them to be on a plant-based diet because they can't be like in agreement with the ethical philosophy of animal rights, which is veganism. But I understand what you're saying. Eat a vegan diet, eat a plant-based diet. Yes, they can be plant-based. I'll put in stage one text a bunch of scientific uh, articles and studies about dogs and cats on a vegan diet, and but yeah, as long as they're getting enough food and enough the proper nutrients, then everything's fine. Because why kill some animals to feed others if we don't need to, right? They all want to live. So if we love dogs, we should also love pigs, or at least
Yeah.
let them live.
Yeah. How do you define quote unquote being tortured in a slaughterhouse?
Oh, sure.
Like,
So yeah, so there's lots of ways that animals are tortured in farms and slaughterhouses. So one would be the physical pain, and then you would have the emotional pain, and then you'd also have the suffering of the loss of life, of the fact that their lives are taken from them. So even if it was a quick and painless death, it's still, I'd call it a form of suffering, a form of harm, because they're, like when you murder somebody, a human, right? That's like the top of the list of crimes, right? Because we realize that even if you shoot them in the head while they're sleeping, so there's no pain and there's no fear, that's super harmful to them because you put a hole in their head, right? All of their friends and family relationships destroyed, right? All of their continued existence gone. The future they had waiting to be enjoyed gone, right? So it's worse to kill somebody than to kick somebody. But you're against kicking pigs, so it's even worse to kill a pig because it takes away their whole life. But yeah, so there's physical pain such as like in farms before they get sent to the slaughterhouse, physical pain such as being kept in a tiny cage your whole life for months and months and months. Imagine how insane you would go. So they'll bang their heads up against the wall. So this isn't actually physical pain. This is more emotional, mental pain. They'll bang their heads against the wall, which causes them physical pain and can lead to physical infections and illness and stuff, disease. But they'll bang their heads against the cages because they're just going crazy. They want to die. Like they'll try to kill themselves sometimes, or they'll just like be trying to break free, trying to break the cage open, or they're trying to get some stimulation. They like exercise. They don't get to turn around in these cages, and so they'll or if they can, they'll just like sway back and forth to get some kind of movement, or so there's that. So yeah, the animals do get depression and anxiety, and they go insane, and they'll resort to violence. Like they'll hurt each other to try to get free. If they're stuck together, like 10 of them in a tiny area, they'll start biting each other to get out. Okay, just like you would if you were stuck in an elevator with 10 people for months, right? You'd lose your mind. So there's that. They get their beaks cut off, and that hurts. They have nerve endings in their beaks. Birds, right? They get baby pigs get their testicles ripped out, without anesthesia, with no painkillers, because it makes the meat taste better for there to be no testosterone flowing through their body. And so they rip their testicles out with no painkillers. The little baby pigs are screaming like a baby, like anybody would who just had the testicles ripped out. All right. There's dehorning, where they'll burn off their horns of cows. There's branding with a hot iron. They'll brand an animal. They'll rip their teeth out or cut their teeth out so they can't bite each other. They'll cut their tails off so they can't bite each other's tails. They will. Let's see. There's the artificial insemination, which is sexual abuse, where they tie down an animal and put things into their genitals to, put sperm into the female's vagina to force them to get pregnant. And that's sexual assault. They're not enjoying that process. They want to get away, but they can't. And then we take their babies from them, which causes them great emotional distress. Mother cows in the dairy industry, when we take their babies away, as soon as their babies are born, they're taken away because that baby's going to drink that milk. But fuck no, that's our milk, right? We want to steal that milk from that baby and sell it for profit, or drink it because we like the flavor. So yeah, you separate a baby and their mother, and they panic. The baby just wants to cuddle with their mother. The mother just wants to give her milk to her baby, and so they're like crying out into the distance over this separation for weeks. Okay, there's videos of it. Check it out. Like,
What was in the 5-minute video that you sent?
yeah, dairy is scary. And then but yeah, so there's all that stuff. And then with the slaughterhouse, again, these are children that we're sending to the slaughterhouse. Pigs are killed when they're 6 months old. Cows killed when they're 18 months old, just a year and a half. And birds, like chickens, are killed when they're 1 month old. So that's a problem, right? And then, yeah, as far as like pain and fear in a slaughterhouse, yeah, like they are not idiots. They know what's going on. They can smell the blood. They can hear the screams. They can hear the big clanking machines. They're being pushed with a stick by a human, like a cattle prod with a zapper on the end of it. To like zap them to go forward, because they don't want to go forward because they know what's on the other end of that door, right? And so they don't want to, and so they're trying to back up, but there's nowhere to go. And the farmer forces them in there. And so, yeah, there's a lot of fear and that kind of pain. And then they're supposed to get like knocked unconscious first or stunned. And that can, depending on what kind of animal, it can either be a bolt gun, which is like a pistol, but no bullet comes out. It's just like a piece of metal that goes out and goes back into the gun. So you don't have to waste bullets, because that takes money, right? They're just figuring out ways to cut costs. So a bolt gun fires a piece of metal into your brain, right? And it's supposed to knock you out, and then they hang you upside down and slit your throat while you're unconscious or stunned to drain the blood out of your body, right? But a lot of times the stun gun does not work, because like a cow's skull is really thick. And so I've seen cows have to get stunned like 30 times, and they're thrashing around with holes in their heads because it's not knocking them out. And then I've seen, there's a lot of times where, like, sometimes up to 5% of the animals on the kill line are not stunned properly before they're actually stabbed, because the kill line has to keep moving so fast. Like, they have to slaughter so many animals so quickly to keep up with the high demand for meat, because so many people want to eat meat and they're buying it, and so they got to kill a bunch of animals in a short amount of time. And so if the stunning method doesn't work right away, they can't, all the time, they can't keep going trying to stun them. They got to move them down the line and stun the next animal. And so that unstunned animal is going to get their throat slit open, and they're thrashing around, hanging upside down, bleeding all over the place, screaming and shit. It's crazy. I've seen them get their legs cut off and be skinned alive. So there's that. And then also, there's the gas chambers. So pigs and birds are often killed in gas chambers, or stunned in gas chambers, where they freak out. They're just screaming and thrashing around, like doing flips in a painful way, just flapping around on the floor because they're breathing in CO2 gas that's burning their lungs from the inside and burning their eyes, right? And 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 this is supposed to knock them unconscious in like 30 seconds, and then you stab them, and it's just like, ugh. And birds are often hung upside down while fully conscious and then dragged through an electrified bath of water that is supposed to stun them unconscious because it electrocutes them. But before that, they're just hanging upside down by their feet for a long time before they get into that electrical bath of water. And they're like freaking out, upside down. Like, why am I upside down? I want to get out of here.
Yeah. Okay. What is the goal of being a vegan? Just summed up.
Eliminate animal cruelty as far as possible and practicable. We realize we can't be perfect, but we're trying to do the best we can and maximize well-being and minimize suffering and death.
Okay. Are you against like horse riding?
Yes, horses
Okay.
don't want to be ridden. There's studies about how it can damage their spine to have people riding on them. They do not enjoy having a piece of metal in their mouth, a bit attached to reins that force them to go right or left through pain. Okay, and uh, you wouldn't want it done to you, so don't do it to them.
Do you consider this torture?
What?
Horse riding, like the horse riding with the metal in their mouth and everything.
Yes. Yeah, there's different levels of torture for sure. Some, like, same for you. Like, I could torture you in uh some basic ways or some extreme ways, you know. Either way
Mhm.
is bad, but some is worse. Spaghetti, come on up here. I hope it's a vegan spaghetti. You know, you can put vegan meatballs in there, vegan sausage, vegan parmesan, vegan mozzarella. What's up, spaghetti?
Hey, man.
What's up?
I was curious. What do vegan meatballs? Do they taste the same? Like, do they have like the same texture?
Yeah.
Same taste?
Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, I haven't
Okay.
eaten.
Do you know like what's in them?
It depends. Like different brands will use different ingredients, but it can be made like vegan meats can be made from like soybeans or peas or wheat. There's several different ways, and it's good. I'm telling you, like technology is amazing. And it's just gonna keep getting better and better too. But yeah, vegan meatballs are dope. They feel like the same, they taste the same, they look the same. If we put a blindfold on you, you wouldn't know the difference. So
All right. Yeah. I was gonna try them actually. I wasn't sure.
cool. And
Okay.
and and sometimes what happens with vegan products is like some brands are better than others, you know. So if you get a vegan cheese or whatever that's not very good, then just buy a different brand next time and try your luck there because they are still working out the details or the specifics, working out the kinks in some of these products or some of these companies, you know. So it's still early in the movement and stuff, but I went vegan in 2010. So back then, like 11 years ago, there was way less options. You guys have got it easy now. Uh, there's all kinds of stuff. So, yeah.
All right. Cool. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, and check out like vegan chicken nuggets and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um,
Sure.
all right, cool. Any other questions or thoughts?
Nope. I was just curious.
Okay, cool. All right, we'll talk to you later. Hey, what's up?
Nothing much, uh, just have like one question.
Okay, go for it.
Alright, so let's say the whole entire Earth turns vegan, right? And of course, animals that took out all the animals that eat meat. No more of them. Just animals that eat like plants and stuff, right? If we eat like salads and everything, then the animals are still gonna die. Like no matter what, everything dies.
Okay, so like you're gonna die, but that doesn't mean I should kill you today, right?
Yeah, of course, but we all die at some point in time.
Yeah, but that's not a justification for murder.
Okay. okay, but like still you're like trying to. I mean, I'm not gonna say force. I guess I'm trying to say like make people think that maybe they should go vegan or like telling them that they probably should be vegan.
Yeah.
Which I would
So
say like which I would say maybe like killing animals is wrong, but you still need a balanced diet of like so meat. You need
no.
vegetables still.
Well,
You
you don't.
need like
We don't.
grains. You need like something with a balanced diet.
Yeah, but you can have a balanced vegan diet. That's the thing. We don't need to eat any animal products at all. The science is clear on that. There's vegan
Okay,
athletes.
then what's the point of animals? Maybe just to like pet them. Maybe just to own them as like own them as pets.
No,
But
like
that's
they
not enough point.
no.
And then they overpopulate and then eat all
Okay.
the food.
Okay, it's not about what they can provide for us. It's that they enjoy their lives. They matter to themselves and to each other. And so, just like with a human, like you may not be helping me in any ways, but I'm not going to stab you, right? It doesn't matter if you're helping me or not. You are a conscious being who enjoys your life. So I don't want to take that from you. As far as overpopulation, it won't be like that because the world's not going to go vegan overnight. It's going to be a gradual progression that's going to take 10, 20, 30 years or whatever. And it'll start in small cities and then states and then countries and stuff. Um, and so all we'll do is stop breeding these animals into existence in the first place. So right now, farms breed cows and pigs and chickens into existence so that we can kill them when they're children and eat their dead bodies. So instead of breeding those animals into existence, we'll just like not have to worry about that. And then the wild animals, they're gonna keep doing their thing. So like the population of wild animals will stay the same. It's just there won't be any more farmed animals, and there'll
But
be
still, they won't.
and there will be plenty of food for humans, plenty of vegan food for humans, because it takes 16 pounds of plants to make 1 pound of beef. Because you have to feed the cow for months to get them up to slaughter weight, and then kill them and only get a small amount of meat out of their body. So it's really resource intensive to make meat and dairy and eggs, and we would save a bunch of land, like farmland, if we didn't raise animals.
Mhm. But that still leaves the question: what's the purpose for animals?
I already told you that their purpose. I don't even know what you mean by purpose. Like they enjoy their lives, they have friends and families, and they're just trying to have a good day and eat good food, and that's it. So like, let them do that. What do you mean? What is their purpose? What is your purpose? What is the purpose of a monkey? You don't eat monkeys, so what's the purpose of monkeys? They're just
Monkeys.
yeah.
Monkeys are used for entertainment.
No,
We
no,
enjoy
it's
seeing videos
no,
of monkeys.
no. First of all, I'm
We
talking.
enjoy, we enjoy seeing videos of monkeys playing around. Okay, monkeys are the greatest animals to ever exist. I would never eat a monkey, but I would eat whatever else. Okay.
Okay,
You want the fact that I like monkeys?
okay. So if you like, I was talking about wild monkeys and like wild monkeys who never provide any entertainment for you. So they're not at a zoo or circus, which is also cruel, by the way. But just imagine a family of wild monkeys out in nature, and you're never gonna see them. You're never gonna get any entertainment value from them. No one's ever gonna film them and show you, and you're not gonna laugh at how silly they are or whatever. So now, is it okay to kill that family of monkeys to eat them just for pleasure when you don't need to?
I mean, is it okay to kill humans? No.
I don't think so
But
either.
killing animals is like really. There's no really problem with that.
Well, the
The only
mon-
problem is that you're saying that they get tortured. They live a happy life still. They still play around. You just don't see that. You see blood. You see gore. You see everything bad about like killing animals, but you don't see like the good that they probably have. They probably get more food than they would in the wild. They'll
okay.
probably eat like more.
Well, even if that's
Still-
true,
still
they
enjoy-
but they
they're-
die
they're-
earlier.
they're-
They're killed when they're
they're still-
children. They're tortured and killed when they're children. And if you haven't seen the
they're not
videos,
tortured.
have you not seen videos of factory farms and slaughterhouses?
Yes, I have.
Okay, well, here's some more because
They're not
you
torture.
obviously.
The torture isn't like used.
Okay, I need you to watch. I'm gonna post. Listen,
Hold on,
listen.
wait.
Hey,
Your definition of torture is probably different.
okay, listen,
Okay?
listen.
But mine is way different.
Okay, will you do me a favor and watch this video that I made that has 800,000 views and then talk to me?
I don't care how many views it has. I don't
Okay,
care how long it is.
okay. It's 12. It's just 12. Hey, relax. Just chill out. Chill out. Holy shit.
Okay, I don't.
Get the fuck out of here. Everybody, I recommend that you go to Stage 1 Text and watch this video I'm posting that I made that was traumatizing for me to make this. Okay? 800,000 views on YouTube, 20,000 comments, 12 minutes long. It's called Warning. I just posted it in Stage 1 Text. Anybody want to watch this and tell me that's not torture? And this is standard operating procedure. Standard industry practice. We have so many hundreds of thousands of hours. We have thousands of hours of undercover footage from all over the world of how animals are treated. So don't give me that shit. But again, even if they weren't tortured, it's mean to cut their heads off.
What's up?
Chillin', what's happening?
So I just have like a few questions. I will not be like that other guy.
Cool.
I won't be like turning vegan anytime soon. So like, I'm sorry, but like, yeah.
No,
So,
you'll be just so you know, you'll be radicalized by the end of the night.
We'll see.
Cool.
Okay, so I just have like a few questions about your opinions.
Okay.
So like, first off, what do you think of like fishing? You know? 'Cause
Yes.
I like to fish and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, so fish feel pain. The science is clear on that. They are sentient beings who care how they're treated. They have a social, they have a community. They have friends and families that they like to hang out with. And they panic when they're taken out of the water because they can't breathe. It's suffocating. It's putting a hook in their mouth, all this stuff. So I see it as very similar to putting a hook in a dog's mouth and shoving their head underwater.
Okay, yeah, I can understand that. Okay, then, like, I know that you do not like to use, like, wool products because it is abusive to sheep. Now, in a lot of cases, but, like, if the sheep was, like, peacefully, like, treated, you know, like, it was treated nicely and the wool was removed when it was, like, healthy to remove it from the sheep.
Yeah,
Would you still use wool? Like, would you still not use wool, or would you use wool?
I would support the shearing of that sheep in that situation, but I would not support the wearing of their wool. So the reason for that is because it promotes the idea that we should use animals as a clothing or a resource, and that leads to a lot of cruelty and slaughter. On animal sanctuaries, somebody will have, a vegan will run an animal sanctuary and have a sheep there who's needs to be sheared simply because for generations farmers have been selectively breeding sheep to overproduce wool. So they don't overproduce it naturally. We did this to them. So they need to be sheared.
But then, like, it's more, it produces more to, like, make more sheep, and then, like, to, like, kill them, like, and stuff like that, to, like, make more money. So, like, I understand, like, where you're going.
Yeah, they also kill those, I think they kill those animals for meat also when they're done shearing them,
Yeah.
So also there's that, but also like, so the vegan would shear the sheep gently and slowly and then use their wool for bedding for other animals or stuff like that, for fostered animals or like orphaned animals, little baby animals that don't have a mother. They like to cuddle up with real fur, stuff like that. So but we don't want to promote the idea that it's okay to wear animals.
Hi, how's it going?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Cool.
So I have a few questions. For I guess because you're a vegan. So first of all, what made you go vegan? Like, was there someone who inspired you, or
Yeah.
you saw?
Yeah, so I used to be a really bad guy. Like I had been abused as a child, and so I grew up really angry and depressed, and I took it out on a lot of people and animals. So I was violent and selfish, used to hurt people and other animals and stuff, and then I had a transformation. I hit rock bottom. I was in jail and just wasn't happy with the way my life was going, how much harm I was causing, and how I was uh, not helping the world. And so I just changed. I realized that I wanted my life to mean something good, and so I wanted to help the world and help myself. And so I changed and became a human rights activist at like 21 years old or so, and started fighting for poor people and fighting against racism and homophobia and war and stuff like this. And and then in 2009, I saw a movie called District 9. District 9 is a sci fi movie. It's not about animals. It's really entertaining, though. I recommend everybody watch District 9. So, District 9, aliens crash land on Earth. And they've got like some illness, so they're sick and vulnerable and kind of sluggish. And the humans in the movie exploit the aliens' vulnerability and put the aliens into these ghetto camps where they just live in tents, in tents, and the humans run painful experiments on the aliens, simply because the aliens aren't human, right? They're not part of our group, and so it's like discrimination. And it's really, the movie is really about xenophobia, which starts with an X, xenophobia, which means fear of foreigners. Which we see that a lot with immigration. People want to immigrate here, and some people are xenophobic. They have fear of foreigners coming into their land. I'm not. I want the foreigners to come here. I think they're great. But so this movie got me thinking about. But see, the thing is like these aliens in the movie, they don't mean us any harm. And they've got families. They got little babies that they care about, and they have a language. They speak in cliques and stuff, so they're relatively intelligent. And but the humans don't care about any of that. They're just like, put them in these camps. They don't matter. They're not human, and so it got me thinking about discrimination and racism. But I was like, it's not racism because these aliens aren't even the same species as us. So I was like, speciesism, racism, speciesism, right? And then, but I didn't make the connection to animals until the next day when I was eating a steak, and I looked at this piece of flesh, and I was like, I felt really conflicted and like bad about myself. I was like, this is the dead body of somebody who wanted to live. Like, I'm discriminating against animals for not being human, just the way that the humans in the movie were discriminating against aliens for not being human. But nobody gets to choose what body they're born into, and there's nothing wrong with being different. So if I'm against racism and sexism, I should also be against speciesism and just be nice to everybody. If I was born as a pig or a cow, I would want the humans to be nice to me, right? I'm nice to my dog. Why am I paying someone to stab a cow? And so I felt like a racist. I felt really disgusted with myself and shamed and guilty of animal cruelty for 26 years of my life. It just dawned on me all of a sudden. And so I pushed that steak away, ordered a salad because that's the only vegan thing they had at that restaurant. And I ate the salad and I was full and happy. It was a good meal. And uh, little did I know I would end up like this, with a megaphone in my hand 24/7. But yeah, so I hadn't seen any slaughterhouse videos or anything. I just realized this ethical philosophy of speciesism and how it was irrational and violent, and so I changed. And then I saw slaughterhouse videos and got really fucking mad, because then I realized how bad it is, and I actually saw the animals struggling, because it's kind of vague and ambiguous, abstract. Yeah, animals are killed for our food, blah blah blah. But when you see them kicking and screaming and fighting to stay alive, and us killing their babies in front of them and stuff, it takes a new tone with you, or with me it did at least. I know some people watch slaughter videos and aren't affected at all, but I cry my eyes out. So, and that motivates me to become an activist.
Yeah. I'm sorry you had such a rough childhood. I'm glad to hear that you kind of turned around. That's great.
Thank you.
I have one more question. So I'm brand new to be trying to become vegan. You know, I've kind of started to switch over. Do you have any recommendations of like, you know, really good types of meals or anything, or
Sure.
any sort of that sort of thing? You know.
Yeah, so there's an app called Happy Cow, and Happy Cow is an app you can download that will tell you where there are vegan restaurants near you, or maybe if there's, or you can just do Google, vegan restaurants near me, and if there's no vegan restaurants, it'll at least show you restaurants that have vegan options. So there's that, and then if you go to Stage One Text, I'll post like a meal plan for 4 days that'll give you kind of an idea of how to do this. But it's easy. You just buy something else. There's a whole bunch of good vegan food out there. So go to Stage One Text. Here's a meal plan, like what you can eat on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday for breakfast, and then lunch, and then dinner. So stuff like oatmeal, tofurkey sandwich. It's like a turkey sandwich. Pasta with marinara sauce. Cereal, salad, veggie stir fry, toast, soup, beans and rice, fruit salad, veggie pizza, and you can modify this however you want. There's a bunch of good stuff out there, but I'll show you a picture of some vegan chicken nuggets that I really, really like. They're spicy, like buffalo nuggets. I don't know if you'll have access to these wherever you live, but just to kind of show you, like, there's a lot of good stuff out there.
Yeah. I will definitely go next time I have to go to the store. Try to see if I can find those. Thank you for answering my questions. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for being nice. Have a good day.
Yeah, you too, man.
Okay, bye.
Like 2 questions.
Okay, go for it.
So my first question is, what do you think about like utilizing animals?
Sure. So, same with euthanizing humans. Like, if somebody is, including myself, if somebody is in a lot of pain and there's no way to help them, then we should put them out of their pain. Like, if it seems like that's what they want, or that's what would be in their best interest, what would be best for them, then we should do that. It's a mercy killing. It's doing them a favor. Uh, I don't want to just stay alive if it's nothing but suffering. So I did that. I put my dog to sleep when he was 14 because uh, his life was no longer worth living because he was vomiting all the time. He couldn't walk. He couldn't control his bowels, so he was going to the bathroom all the time, like everywhere, and he's just not having fun anymore. So I put him to sleep gently, um, and but that's just not what happens with slaughterhouses. Those animals are killed when they're children and they had their whole lives ahead of them, and it's a violent death.
Yeah, no, I totally understand. I used to have a dog as well, but she kept running away, and every time she returned, she had like different cuts, and she even cut her entire stomach open, so we had to unfortunately put her down because she was like struggling with all the cuts and stuff.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah. So my second question is, do you have like any advice? Because I'm not vegan, but I want to go vegan. The only problem is that my parents aren't really supportive of veganism. They're kind of anti-vegan,
Mm.
and it just I really want to go vegan because it breaks my heart, but I can't really do anything about it.
Yeah, that's a tough situation. So, uh, do the best you can. If your parents will not buy you vegan food and you have to eat animals, then don't beat yourself up because that's a situation that you can't really control. You can still be an animal rights activist, though. You can still like talk to your friends and your family about animal rights and vegan food and say, or you can post on Facebook or Instagram if you have that stuff. You can post about animal rights. and encourage people who can go vegan. Tell them if you can go vegan, you should go vegan. And as soon as I can go vegan, I'm gonna go vegan. You can tell them, So there's that. But also, you might be able to convince your parents, maybe not for them to go vegan, but for them to at least buy you vegan food, hopefully. So you can try it a polite way first, which is to make a list of vegan foods that you want to eat, like green beans and potatoes and rice and pasta and Beyond Burgers, the vegan burgers or whatever you want, French fries, stuff like this. Make a list of your favorite vegan foods and tell your parents you only want to eat these foods because you have done some research and you found out that uh, a plant-based diet is way better for your health. A plant-based diet is way better for the environment, and a plant-based diet is way better for the animals. And all of that matters to you, and so ask your parents if they would buy these for you, buy only these things for you, and hopefully they will. Maybe they'll say something like, well, you got to cook your own food then. Well, then go ahead and start cooking your own food. That's a good life lesson to learn anyways, and it doesn't take much time, so make your own meals. Or, maybe your parents they'll make their own non-vegan meal, but they'll make a vegan meal for you. Or maybe they'll even make a family meal that's vegan and you'll all share it together eventually. You never know, people can change. Um, or you can, but if none of that works, like I said, sometimes you just got to deal with a situation. Or you can try something even more intense, which is be like tell your parents, I'm not eating animal products anymore, and see how they react. Because like we don't want you to get like if your parents are abusive and they're going to beat you or something if you do that, don't do that. But if they're just going to ground you, send you to your room for a week, maybe go to your room for a week so that you can live vegan from now on. And your parents, like, they'll get in trouble with the law if they don't feed you. And so if you don't eat and you say, look, I'll eat so long as it's vegan, then that might motivate them to just give you vegan food.
Yeah, I'll definitely try that.
Because like I went on a hunger strike for 5 days back in 2015. I didn't eat any food for 5 days, and I could have gone longer, but I was getting dizzy and weak and stuff. But I was trying to prove a point about how much the animals are suffering, and so yeah, maybe suffer a little bit. Don't get any like kind of don't die. Don't um, kill yourself in the process, but maybe see what happens, see how your parents respond to these different tactics. But try to love them, try to be patient, even if they're being jerks, and hopefully they'll change eventually. But if a lot of times some people are really speciesist and they just don't care about animals, and if you try to approach this from an animal rights perspective, talking about veganism from an animal rights point, the defenses will go up and they won't want to talk about it. They won't listen. But if you talk about how a plant-based diet is better for your health or for the environment, they might be much more receptive because it's not such a controversial issue. You're not saying you're a bad person for killing animals. You're just saying, hey, look, this other thing would be healthier for you and would save our planet.
Oh yeah, no, totally. I'll definitely try that.
Yeah,
I'll make a list right
yeah.
after this.
Yeah, so do some research into a plant-based diet and how it's better for your health and the environment. And I'll post a video in Stage 1 text right now. There's a movie on Netflix called Cowspiracy, like conspiracy, but with a cow, Cowspiracy. And it's all about how animal agriculture is destroying our environment. And it's not about animal rights. And this is just the 15-minute version of the movie. The movie's 2 hours on Netflix, but this is just the 15-minute version on YouTube. That's just like the condensed version that has all of the important information in a short amount of time. So I posted that in Stage 1 text.
All right. Yeah, I'll definitely do that.
Okay, and then here's a picture of some vegan bodybuilders that you can show them if they're like, well, you're not going to get your protein if you're vegan. You can show them these vegan bodybuilders.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, cool.
Thank you for your time.
You're welcome. Come talk to us again soon.
I will. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.